crocheters, this is Shannon with Dogwood Crochet, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet these cute little gingerbread houses. I'll show you how to crochet each different shape of house and part of decorating it, and then you can choose where you want to put the pieces and build your house. The full written pattern will be linked in the description box. And in terms of materials, you'll need a 4mm crochet hook, medium worsted weight yarn. These gingerbread houses can be used as ornaments. You can string them on garlands, you can sew them onto wearables like sweaters and hats, and you can even hot glue them onto a piece of cardboard to display around your house. The possibilities are really endless, so you can make lots of different things with these. So we're going to make a slip knot, and then we will chain 13. All right, so now we're going to work into the back bump of each of our chains. So if you're looking at your chain like this, you're going to flip it, and these are back bumps, these little things that are sticking up here. So that's what we're going to work into, just for kind of a cleaner looking edge. So we are going to single crochet into the back bump of our second chain from hook. So the loop that's on our hook doesn't count. We're going to count 1, 2. This is our second chain here. We're going to flip it, and we're going to find that back bump right there and just single crochet into that. And then we're just going to single crochet into each of the remaining back bumps of the chains. So by the end of this row, we should have 12 stitches. All right, 2 more, 1 more. Okay. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we'll just single crochet in each stitch across. Just like that. So for our rectangular or square looking house, we will just repeat this. We'll just do a single crochet in each stitch across for a total of 15 rows. So we would just keep repeating this until we have 15 rows all finished, and then we can fasten off and weave in our ends. Or this next house shape, we just worked 12 rows of single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to do our roof the same way that we did our pointy roofs, except we'll just stop crocheting before we get to the point, basically. So we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches. Then we'll just do normal single crochets. Then we'll just do normal single crochets into the next 8 stitches. And then once we have 2 stitches left at the end of the row, we will single crochet those last 2 stitches together, so a decrease. And then we'll chain 1 and turn. And then we'll just repeat that process. So single crochet 2 together in our first 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 6 stitches. And now we have 2 stitches left, and we will single crochet 2 together in those last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And then again, we'll just repeat this. Single crochet 2 together in our first 2 stitches, and then single crochet in our next 4 stitches. And then single crochet 2 together in our last 2 stitches. And then chain 1 and turn, and then this will be our last row. We're just going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. So that's where we're going to stop for this house shape. So we should have 4 stitches left in our last row, and then we can just fasten off and weave in our ends and then add on our designs. If we're doing the shorter traditional looking house with the triangle roof, we're going to repeat this for 11 rows, and then on row 12 we will begin our decreases to get that triangular shape on the roof. If you are doing the shorter triangular roof house, do this until the end of row 11, and then we'll come back for row 12. If you're doing this for the taller version of the triangle roof house, do this until the end of row 14, and then we'll come back and do our decreases for our triangle roof. All right, I just finished 14 rows for my taller house, but if you're making a shorter house like this, you will have finished 11 rows. And now we're going to work on this triangle roof here, so you can see kind of the difference in the height. This one went up to here before we started the roof, and this taller one goes up to here. So now we're working from here up on our triangular roof. So I just chained 1 and turned, and now we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches of the row. So to do that, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'll have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'll have 3 loops on my hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So that's just how you single crochet 2 together. It's also called a decrease. Now we're just going to single crochet into the next 10 stitches, or 8 stitches, I'm sorry. So we're just single crocheting into the next 8 stitches, and then we'll have 2 stitches left at the end of the row. All right, so when you get to those last 2, we're going to do another decrease. So single crochet 2 together. We're going to insert our hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, and then insert our hook into that last stitch of the row, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And then we'll chain 1 and turn. And then we basically just repeat the same process all the way until we get to the top of the roof. So again, we're going to start with a decrease. We'll single crochet 2 together. And now we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches, or until we have 2 stitches left at the end of the row. And 6, and now we have 2 stitches left, and we'll do another decrease. Chain 1 and turn. All All right, so we'll repeat that process again. We're going to do a decrease, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And now we should have 2 stitches left, and then we'll do a decrease. Chain 1 and turn. And just repeat. We'll start with a decrease in the first 2 stitches. And then we will single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then we have 2 stitches left in the row, and we'll do a decrease. All right, chain 1 and turn. And now we have 4 stitches left in our row. So we're just going to single crochet 2 together and then repeat that again. So we're just doing 2 decreases, just like that. So now we're down to 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. So now we're just down to 2 stitches. We're going to decrease between these last 2 stitches. So now we're just left with 1 stitch. We'll chain 1 and turn, and then just slip stitch into that single stitch. And that's it. Then we'll fasten off and weave in our ends, and then we can work on our decorations to add on to these houses. All right, I just put this scarf down, so hopefully it's a little bit easier to see the white. But now we're going to work on the doors. So there's 2 different options for the doors. You could do a rectangular one or one with kind of a scalloped or arched entryway. And you could see this is kind of what they would look like on the house. So first I'll show you how to make the rectangular one. All right, so to make the rectangular one, we're going to make a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 7. All right, now we chain 7. And just like with our houses, we're going to be working in the back bumps of our chains. This time we're going to work in the 3rd chain from our hook. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, flip it over to find that back bump, and we're going to place a half double crochet into that 3rd chain from our hook. So yarn over, insert our hook into that back bump of the 3rd chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then we'll just do a half double crochet in each remaining chain, working into those back bumps if that's something that you want to do. If not, that's totally fine too. You can just work into the chains like normal, but I feel like working into the back bumps gives it a slightly cleaner edge. All right, so we just half double crocheted into each chain, and then we're just going to chain 2 and turn. And then we will just half double crochet into each stitch. So we had 5 stitches at the end of our row, so we'll do 5 half double crochets. And 5. And that's it. So that's our rectangular door. And then we can just fasten off. And I would say to leave a somewhat long end because you want to be able to sew this onto the houses. So maybe leave about like a 12-inch end. And then just fasten off. right, so that is our rectangular door. Now I'll show you how to crochet our arched door. So we're going to make a slip knot. And then we're gonna chain 5. All right, now again, we're gonna work in the back bumps, and we're going to start with the 3rd chain from our hook, and we're gonna half double crochet all the way across. So count over 1, 2, 3. Here's the 3rd chain. Find that back bump and half double crochet into it. And then half double crochet into the remaining chains. So we should only have 3 stitches at the end of this row. And then we're going to chain 2 and turn. And then we'll just half double crochet into each stitch. So that'll be 3 half double crochets. All right, so now this is kind of the bottom portion of our door, and then we're going to do the arch. So to do the arch or the scallop at the top, we're going to be working into that last stitch that we just placed our last half double crochet into. So we're going to place 5 single crochets into that same stitch. And 5. All right, so there's our 5 single crochets, and that's our arched top. And then just to kind of clean it up before we fasten off, I'm going to slip stitch into my foundation chain like that. And then once again, just like with the other door, leave a long tail so that we can sew it onto the houses. Just fasten off. And that is our arched door. All right, and next I will show you how to crochet a little snowman to put outside your house. So this consists of 2 separate circles that we can then sew onto the house. So let's see, we'll start with our smaller circle for the head. So for our head, we're going to make a magic circle. So I like to do the magic circle, I like to get my yarn tail and wrap it around my index finger 3 times. And then place my hook under all 3 strands, and then pull this one under the other 2, and then chain 1. So that's what I like to do. So to do that small head of the snowman, we're just going to place 6 single crochet into our circle. And 6. All right, and now to close our circle, we're going to start pulling on this end, and you're going to see one of these loops is going to start tightening. So I want to grab on the one that's tightening and pull that so that I can close the other loop. See how that's kind of starting to close? And now I can go back and grab my tail, and that will close this other one. All right, so now that my circle's closed, I'm going to find that first stitch of our round, insert my hook into it, and then slip stitch so that I can join that circle. Now I just have a little circle. And then just fasten off, leave. I'm gonna leave a little bit shorter of a tail for this one, maybe. I feel like I could just kind of tie a knot, maybe, behind the circle, like kind of maneuver this to the center of the circle and then, you know, kind of tie them so that it's where I want it to be. Always trying to save yarn where I can. Okay, so then we're going to do the larger circle. So same thing as the other one, we'll make a magic circle. And then chain 2 this time. And then we're going to place 8 half double crochets into our circle. Seven and 8. All right, and then we'll pull on our yarn tail to start closing it, find the one that's tightening, pull on that one to close the other one, and then we'll get our yarn tail and pull on that to fully close it. And then again, we'll find that first stitch of our round and slip stitch to join. And then again, just fasten off. And that is how to make the snowman body. All right, now I will show you how to make this little scalloped edging. You could either decide to put it onto the bottom of your house to look like snow, or I really like it on the roof of these pointed houses. I think that looks really cute. So I'll show you how to do this. So we're going to make a slip knot. And then you can customize the length of this as long as you chain a multiple of 4 plus 2. So to get 4 of these scallops, I chained 18. So I chained 16 plus 2. So that's kind of an easy way that you can figure out, like, if you want 3 or 5 scallops, say for instance you want 5, you would multiply 5 by 4 to get 20, and then add 2. So if you want 5 scallops, you chain 22. I am going to do 3 scallops for my next one. So to get 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So I'm going to chain 14. Okay. Again, we're going to work into those back bumps, and we're going to start by single crocheting into the second chain from our hook, that back bump. Then we're going to skip a stitch or a chain. We're going to skip a chain, and into the next chain we're going to work 5 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So because we're working multiple stitches in the same chain, that's what gives it that scalloped effect. Then we're going to skip our next chain, and we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next chain. Okay, then we're going to skip the next chain and then we're going to work 5 single crochets into the next chain. So we're just repeating. You should skip a chain in between each stitch group that you're working. All right, so I just did another scallop. Going to skip the next chain and just do 1 single crochet into the chain after that. And I'm going to skip a chain and then do 5 single crochets into the chain after that. And then finally we're going to skip a chain and then work 1 single crochet into that final chain. And that's it. That's how to get that little scalloped look. And then again, we can just fasten off, leave a long tail so that we can sew it on. And that is how to crochet the little scalloped edging. So for example, if you wanted to make this shorter, like you wanted to put it on the bottom, the 3 scallops fits really well on the bottom. The 4 fits really well on the top roof if it's kind of bent like this. So definitely up to you what you want to do. If you want to make it long and, you know, kind of have it wrap around like the whole house, that would be really cool. Let's see, it looks like you need 8 scallops to go around this shorter house. So you could totally do that. If you did 8, you would do 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 2, which is 34. So you'd chain 34. All right, next I'm going to show you how to crochet this little Picot roof edging. It kind of looks like little snow or icicles dripping down. So to do this edging, we're going to make a slip knot. And then we want to chain a multiple of 2 plus 2. So this one has 5 picots on it, and I want to do another one that goes along this roof here, and I think I want 3 on each side like this. So I want 6 picots to go like that. So to do 6, we're going to do 6 times 2, which is 12, and then add 2, so 14. So we're going to chain 14. All right, so that's 14. Now again, we're working into the back bumps. We're going to work into the second chain from our hook and do a single crochet. Then we're going to single crochet into our next chain. Now to do our first picot, we're going to chain 3. And then we're just going to slip stitch into that first chain that we made, or our 3rd chain from the hook. Okay, now we're just going to place a single crochet into our next chain, and then a single crochet into the next chain, and then we'll do a picot, so chain 3, and then slip stitch into that 3rd chain from our hook. And just continue this all the way across. So we'll alternate, we'll do a single crochet, and then we'll do a single crochet plus a picot. And we'll just continue this until the end of our chain. And by the end of the chain, we should end on just a single crochet. So we'll finish up a picot, and then we'll do 1 more single crochet into our last chain, and then we should have 6 picots. So I just did my last picot. So I have 6, and then I have 1 chain left, and then I'm just going to single crochet into the back bump of that last chain. And that's it. Then we can just fasten off and sew this onto our house. Now the fun part is just deciding kind of what you want to do with all these pieces that you've made, how you want to kind of customize things. So you might want to put a snowman on one house, do the scalloped roof on another house, just stuff like that. So just kind of playing around with this, deciding which doors we want, all that fun stuff. So you can literally, that's the fun of this, is you can totally just personalize this, put things wherever you want. You could put like the door in the middle here and then have like 2 windows here. You could put it on the side and have a snowman. Like there's so many options, which is what's really fun about this to me. So the next technique I'm going to show you is how to surface slip stitch, and that will give you a lot of flexibility in terms of kind of adding little designs on the houses, and also adding the windows. So let's say that I want to do this square house, and I'm gonna put my scalloping here on the roof, and I'm gonna have my door here, and I want to have like a small square window here. So I'm going to surface slip stitch that window on. If you wanted, you could maybe like do a little square like this and put it on, but I feel like the windows might look a little bit better if they're kind of open. So to surface slip stitch, I'm going to start by making a slip knot, and then I'm going to take my hook off of the slip knot. I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way so it's less distracting. But let's say that we wanted our window to be around here. We can just eyeball it, but let's start at kind of in the middle of the bottom here. So I'm going to place my hook in here towards the back, and then I'm going to grab my slip stitch, and then I'm going to gently pull that up and through. Then I'm going to place my hook where I want to go next. So I want to go to the left. I'm going to place my hook in that next hole, and then I'm going to grab my working yarn and yarn over, and then pull that loop up and to the other side. And then I'm going to pull it through that slip knot that I made. So like that. So it makes a loop on our work. And now let's say that I want to go up next. So I'm just going to place my hook wherever I want to go with the yarn. So place my hook in there, yarn over, yarn over, and then pull up that loop, and then pull it through the loop that's on my hook. And you can just do this. You can kind of freehand wherever you think it makes sense to place it on your house. Now I think I want to turn my window and just keep going like this until you have kind of a size and shape of a window that you're happy with. And then we can just keep going around like this until we kind of have the shape of a window. So again, you could do this with like a circular window, you could do a rectangular window, you could do a square window, whatever you want, which is what's really fun about this whole project to me. And then once I get back to the beginning, maybe I want to add some window panes. So that's kind of why I started towards the middle here. So now maybe I'll go up through the center to add that window pane. And then I think that's really cute. So then we can just fasten off, and then you would just, you know, weave in your ends on the back side of your work. So this is what it looks like on the back. It's not the prettiest, but that's kind of what we're working with. But this is a really great way to kind of add some embroidered looking details without knowing how to embroider. So like I said, there's tons of options that you could do with the windows, and you could even do like just straight lines across to show like the roof line. You could do like zigzags. You could even try to do like some bricks for the roof. There's so many options. So just have fun experimenting with this because it's a lot of fun. And then just to fasten off here, I'm gonna insert my hook to the back of my work, yarn over, and then pull it through like that. And then once it's kind of been secured, you can pull the end back through to the back of the work like that. And then secure it on the back so that it's not sticking out. So now we have a little window, and then like maybe I want to put this scalloped edge on the roof, and then maybe I want a scalloped or arched door. So now it's just a matter of picking out all of our pieces that we want to make and placing them on our different houses, and then we would just sew these onto the houses. Another thing that's really cool about this project is I have a few scraps here, and let's just say that I wanted to make something like a snowflake on one of these houses. We don't even need our yarn needle for this. We can just use our hook to pull the yarn through. So let's say that I want to do like a snowflake. Let's say it goes like from here to here and here to here. So I want the top of the snowflake to be up here. I'm just getting this tiny little piece of scrap yarn, and this is just going to be one kind of line on the snowflake. Then I'm going to count down, and then I'm going to grab the other end of that yarn and pull it through, and I'm holding it here so that the other end doesn't come through as I'm pulling it. And then you can just tie a knot on the back so that these are secure. Then we can get another short little piece of yarn and pull it through on the sides like this. You could use a yarn needle for this if you wanted, but I find it's a little bit faster to use my hook because then I don't have to thread the yarn through the needle every time. Okay, and then again, we can just tie a knot on the back. And then if we want to do like this, we can pull our yarn through there. There's just lots of different options. It doesn't have to be a snowflake. You could do other designs where you just kind of use your scrap yarn and pull it through. Right, and one more, just getting one more piece of scrap yarn here, and then just pulling it through. So again, like if this is what you want it to look like, just tie knots on the back to secure it, and then you should be good to go. And then you can kind of play with the placement of this. Obviously, if these are tied on the back, they would be tighter so they're not shifting around as much, but that's just another option for some things you can do with your scrap yarn that are still decorative and ways that you can add little embellishments to your houses. So now just to show you how I sew these on to the houses. I think it's pretty straightforward, but just to give you some helpful hints. So I will thread my longer yarn tail through the needle and then just get this kind of placed where I want it. So I want this to start where my roof slant begins. So I'm just going to place my yarn needle through there. And then all that I'm doing the rest of the way is going back and forth. So I'm going to go from back to front through the house, and then I'm also going to go back to front through the roof decoration, and then I'll go front to back through the roof and also front to back through the house. And so just do that all along here, get to the corner, make sure that this is placed where you want it, and then go back and repeat that, and then weave in any extra ends once you've finished sewing all of these details on. So that's just an overview of kind of the steps that I follow for sewing these little details onto my houses. Make sure that you don't pull it too tight, otherwise it might get a little bit bunched up. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like and subscribe, and the full written pattern is linked in the description box. Thanks.